What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Also, this video is brought to you by my music. Since we don't do any sponsorships here, I'll go ahead and shill that out. It's available anywhere you stream music, so check it out. Let me know what you think. It's under the name Aftersound, of course, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, let's talk about the event leaderboard as of today. Now, I'm recording this on Monday. What's the date? Monday, September 16th. So we are less than a week into this. So we're less than halfway into the event. It does run for 2 weeks. And we're actually up almost at 83 million. So I want to do a little bit of an update because I think that this is significant, especially after listening to Claiborne on the People's Guild podcast. Make sure you go check that out, show some support. Shout out to the People's Guild. One of the major things that he was talking about was, bringing feedback back to the team regarding the pricing, right? And I'm even trying to get, gather feedback and data just for myself to see if there's an argument to be made from a DEC burning standpoint with the polls. So make sure you check that video out from yesterday. And just vote in the polls. That's all I'm asking. I'm just trying to gather data. And so in terms of where we're at versus where our goals are, okay, at the baseline, the target should be 120 million per phase, right? And that's really an average per phase. So even if one phase underperforms, we can always change things around. But, to Clay's point, if this phase hits, in my opinion, a certain level, it would or could technically be considered a success. That doesn't mean that things in the future wouldn't change. My guess is that we might see different rarities, so it's not always like legendary and what's that called? Rare. I mean, maybe it could all be the same, right? But just from like a rarity standpoint and balancing standpoint, it would be weird if they didn't have like commons and epics. But either way, there's 4 other phases for us to see how this all plays out. Now, my point with this is, okay, so 120 million on average, of which we are more than 2/3 of the way there with a week remaining, more than a week remaining. So more than half the time remaining. Now, again, I don't know what the team's metric necessarily is to consider this a success, but I'll say this: the closer we get to 120 million, I agree with Clay's point. It gets much more difficult to say, well, it didn't accomplish the goal that it was trying to accomplish. Now, obviously, the way that this was sold to us is that it could burn 1 billion or more, right? Which would mean that our goal technically should be around, 200 million, right? If you're doing that across 5 phases. So we should be trying to aim for 200 million or anywhere above 120 million, because the idea is we pay the team, right, 600 million to create assets for the game, things that people like. And in return, that ends up being a net positive for the community because we lock back up more than 600 million DEC off the market. But I'll say this, and I'm not trying to, offer any copium here. All I'm simply saying is the baseline for me is 600 million. You're right. So 120 million on average per phase, but 600 million total. Because I just want this to be something that breaks even, again, at the very least, considering that it's being used at a time to re-engage the community, get people, to spend DEC. So there is volume happening, right? There is demand happening for DEC. Granted, the supply is increasing also, but the team isn't just dumping that on the marketplace. It's being given out only actually when credits are coming in. So when outside capital, whether from, fiat or other crypto, are coming into the game, and that is a good, healthy sign for like the ecosystem, right? So in that way, it's not being dumped on the marketplace. We are creating demand through this event for people that want to, participate and buy these cards. And probably the most important thing, at least for me, is that it is helping to pass the time. And I don't mean to say that as like, we're just trying to wait until the bull run. What I mean to say is that we have other ways in which DEC is getting burned regularly, right? Wild Season Pass, guilds, land, whatever it is. Like there's so many different, or, just market fees, LPs, like DEC is getting burned constantly. So even if this event just ends up being a net zero sum, at the end of the day, we took out 600 million DEC. We locked up 600 million DEC. Hopefully that gets, that creates a little bit of demand to push DEC closer to peg, which I would argue that it has done, right? Even just slightly, it has done already in just this first phase. And over that time frame, we have continued to burn more and more DEC. So the supply is coming down significantly, right? Or, just whatever the run rate is. And I think I calculated that as like roughly 3 million per day. So we'll say like 100 million per month. And again, this is not DEC getting locked up into the DAO, which is what this leaderboard is doing, right? This event is essentially cycling DEC back into the DAO. But I'm just talking about DEC from tournaments, DEC from Wild Pass, DEC from market fees. All that stuff is allowing for more DEC to get drained out of the ecosystem. That being said, and this is a small aside, that being said, we have seen a lot of DEC get minted recently. I don't think it was all leaderboards. And I did make a warning that I think that there's a lot of reward cards that still need to be burned from a lot of those bot farms. And the higher DEC goes, I think the more they're going to take their profit as they continue exiting the game. But again, that's a little bit of an aside. So overall, to me, the clear mark here is 120 million. I would even say if this gets above 100 million, I can even look at that and say, dude, 20 million, kind of give or take. Let's hope the next one does 140 million. Or across the next four, right? They all do 110 million, whatever the math ends up being. You know my math skills, right? So my whole point is with this is the closer we get to 120 million, it's not that I don't want the team to evaluate community sentiment, but I agree with Clay's point that it gets harder to convince them that, the event wasn't successful, because even just at a baseline, if it is successful, if it does accomplish the goals of locking back up the 120 or close to 120, it's doing whatever it needs to be done. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure there are many people who will disagree with me. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts, your perspectives. If I'm missing something or not looking at it in the right way, I would appreciate it. That's all I got for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.